in real time. I know.
In real time. Yeah, not over Zoom.
Way better than Zoom meetings.
Much better.
Well, it's going to be awesome to feature you on episode 4 of Real Steps, where I'm going to get a real estate bite-sized market update from you while we get our steps in. Except for we're sitting here because it's cold outside, so we're going to do a halftime show step.
Perfect. That works for me.
Okay, perfect.
We do some sprints.
Exactly. So the other day when we had lunch, we were talking about how PwC had just bought the first NFT in, I think, the Sandbox's Metaverse, and you mentioned that you've been researching into the Metaverse a little bit. I would love to learn more about this topic. I know that it's, the latest thing with Facebook and Instagram. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so the Metaverse is very exciting, and you're right about PwC. So PwC Hong Kong, they recently purchased space or land in the Metaverse in the Sandbox to be able to collaborate and connect with their employees and customers on a deeper level, which is interesting. They're actually the first professional service firm ever to purchase space there. And other companies are slowly following. You have Atari, where people can play games in the Metaverse. Yeah, which we should do as well. Yeah. There's Molson Coors, so you can have a virtual ping pong table. There's virtual beer on tap. And as fun as that sounds, you can actually win real life beer.
Real beer, okay.
So much better. Yeah. As great as the virtual beer is. And then there's Samsung, a bunch of other companies where they're allowing their customers to be able to experience their products while sitting at home, using a VR set, and being there in real life or in the Metaverse.
Interesting. Wow. So it looks like, as a company perk, it might be that some workplaces are now allocating space in that Metaverse so that employees can go and potentially have meetings there. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so Microsoft, they recently came out with an AR VR platform called Mesh, and it actually integrates into Microsoft Teams. I'm excited to see when this comes out. But you can connect with your employees in a virtual space, and Facebook, or Meta, as they've been renamed, are clearly very bullish on it. And they created a product called Horizon Workspace, and up to 15 of your coworkers can all come together in this space. We could sit around a little U-shaped table, share a whiteboard, share a computer screen, and we could all physically be at our own homes, but be speaking with each other. And they also are updated for sound. So instead of me cutting you off or you cutting me off on Microsoft Teams, which unfortunately I probably do quite a bit, if we're sitting next to each other, it's as if we're sitting next to each other in real life. And if you're across the room, I won't be able to hear you as much. And so there's less of that as well. So it's a little bit more natural.
Interesting. So it sounds like they're making the technology way more seamless in the Metaverse. And that experience would just feel a little bit more, I guess, easier to make connections and more real, in that Metaverse. And how do you, so there's ways to see your coworkers there? I think there's something like avatars they call in the Metaverse.
Yes, yeah, you got it. There's you've been looking into it. You've been doing some online shopping for your avatar. It's pretty crazy. So we were researching some of the different companies, and there's a company called Ready Player Me, and they actually raised some money recently, about $13 million. And what they do is they design clothing for your avatar.
No.
So you could dress up for the office, have a suit or whatever you want to wear, and then come to your meeting in the Metaverse. And they actually previously partnered with Dior and New Balance, a bunch of other ones, to create this clothing or whatever you want to wear for your avatar, and it's been really successful.
Wow, so I can show up in my Louis Vuitton and my
Exactly.
Dior, go to work, run a meeting.
I know, I'm curious what the prices are like, but yeah, so it's it's something that's also becoming really trendy, and a lot of companies are very bullish on it.
How is this experience in the Metaverse like for workplaces created? Are there architects, designers?
So PwC, from reading it, they purchased land in the space, in the Sandbox, and then from there, there's a few architects that were looking into how to design this virtual office. Mm-hmm. There's also another office, it's Prager Metis, and they built a virtual office as well. And so they're looking at how to have architects design for this space, because you don't really have all of the limits that you typically have in an office. You have a floating table, whatever it might be. So the world is your oyster, really.
Wow.
And so that's where they're at right now.
So are architects like bidding against each other in an RFP to win it? Are there RFPs in the metaverse?
From what we've heard, so there's a really interesting gentleman. He's the founder of Sing, a huge NFT firm, and he works with a few lawyers, and he's been working with them in order to, he puts their patents into an NFT. And similar stories anecdotally, there's been RFPs through an NFT.
An NFT of RFP.
So you would, I guess, sell the NFT and someone would purchase it, and then we'd move forward with the construction, design, all of that fun stuff.
So now suddenly the RFP submissions have become these digital media
Yes.
submissions. Wow.
So next big thing for you guys.
Yeah, gotta ramp up our marketing resources to learn how to do that.
I know, us too. Yeah, definitely.
Interesting. And so when we talk about land in the metaverse and budgets, like how do you allocate what land costs more in this virtual reality?
So Snoop Dogg, I don't know if you've read the stories.
No.
He was one of the first celebrities to purchase space in the metaverse.
Okay.
And then the land beside him sold for over 500,000 USD. Because it's close to Snoop Dogg. And
are they thinking they're just kind of like, he might be walking down the street, maybe this is his house, they might run
Snoop
into
Dogg's
Snoop
my
Dogg?
neighbor?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
I guess it's still cheaper than the Vancouver housing market. So
Okay.
that's pretty neat.
Good
Show
plus.
off that you're next to Snoop Dogg and get a steal on real estate. And then Paris Hilton and a few other celebrities, they've also purchased land in the metaverse. So the closer you are to celebrities, the more expensive it is. Or if you're in areas where a lot of people congregate. So if you're near some of those office spaces or retail shops, Samsung has I guess a retail store you'd call it.
Yeah.
But they have a space in the sandbox and it's supposed to replicate their New York store. And so people can actually test out the products. So places like that, nearby that, would be probably more expensive than other places that are, I guess, more outside of the
Right,
main
more
area.
remote. The suburbs.
Yes, more remote. Yeah, the meta suburbs, yeah.
Oh wow, this is, all news.
But it's really neat. A lot of people are very, Meta CEO said that it's basically the next internet. Bill Gates said in 2 to 3 years, Teams and Zoom is going to be a thing of the past. It's going to be all in the metaverse. And Jefferies Bank, which I was really surprised about, they think that investing in the metaverse right now is similar to investing in the internet in its early stages. And so this is the next big thing.
Well, I think in terms of hybrid working models, the timing is right in terms of thinking of different ways of managing that hybrid process. And for those remote employees, how can they just still have that same experience that's equitable for the rest of the workforce? And if everyone can have their meetings in the metaverse, maybe that's one way to handle it. So
yeah, exactly. I think a lot of companies are pushing for a hybrid model, especially talent is so competitive right now. So offering a bit of a flex policy, it's great. But then people are tired of Zoom and Teams and things that just don't feel so natural or genuine. So being able to meet in a metaverse space, it's interesting. I can't imagine what that'd be like. Haven't experienced it yet, but it does seem like a much more, better alternative than Teams or Zoom, whatever it might be. Just a bit more realistic and natural.
it only took a few years of Zoom fatigue to get us there.
I know. A couple of years later.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I mean, I've learned so much about this crazy new metaverse world with you today, and I think if anybody else out there needs to lease some space in the metaverse, you might be a metaverse expert.
And you can design it.
Perfect. We
We'll
have all of
partner.
our furniture in there for
Exactly.
Great. Well, thank you, Jennica, for coming today. Always a pleasure, and look forward to chatting more about this.
Thank you for having me, and hopefully chatting in the metaverse soon.
Yes. Yeah, I prefer IRL still, though.
Me too.